I'd like to welcome Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin. We're going to have a conversation about Generation America and anything else that he can think of. Welcome, Senator. So you're kind of new to the Senate and Tea Party guy, right?
Absolutely. I sprang out of the Tea Party, gave a speech in October 2009 when President Obama was demonizing doctors to pass that very partisan, very unpopular health care law. That's really kind of what got me stepping up to the plate.
Well, you come in, how long have you been active now in the Senate?
19 months, 7 days, 6 hours, but who's counting?
You know what, the thing that everybody wants to ask, and before we get on to topic, I have to ask this because when you are new to the Senate or new to the Congress, and apparently you've never done this before, right?
No.
Something has to happen, and what I think happens, let me give you my scenario, and you can say, nah, that's not exactly how it goes. You come up for a vote on something, and you're not exactly where the party wants you to be. And so they say to you, look, Ron, if you want to get along here, you've got to do scenario so-and-so and so-and-so, or we just won't support you on the things that you want.
I would say that's never happened to me.
Never happened ever.
No, and I will say, I didn't make too many guarantees other than I was going to govern as I campaigned, but one promise I made, I would never vote with my reelection in mind. And we need more people serving in Congress that really put America first. Understand.
Well, how about term limits? Are you interested in term limits?
Absolutely. I'm totally in favor of term limits.
I'm a big deal about term limits. Yeah. Well, I've got a little statistic here that we came up with for our group in Generation America. We have 95% of Generation America members support, which I find, and a phenomenal amount of people. I was very surprised. They support Paul Ryan's plan for saving Medicare.
Yeah, because he actually has
Are you surprised about that?
No, because he actually has a plan to save Medicare. You know, the first
it's been such a third rail kind of, you don't talk about it.
Because the other side demagogues it and lies about what Paul Ryan has proposed.
So you're saying they can't get away with that anymore?
No, and I love the fact that the Romney campaign, Governor Romney and Paul Ryan have gone on the offense of this thing to tell the American people the truth, to treat them as adults. I think this is a moment in time where we have to tell the American people the truth. And the truth is, Paul Ryan's Medicare proposal is a bipartisan proposal with liberal Democrat Senator Ron Wyden. It does nothing to current beneficiaries. If you're a current beneficiary or you're about to retire, 55 or older, you keep Medicare as it's currently constituted.
I understand that.
Right.
And I see them say that over and over again. And then I turn and I see Bob Beckel or someone else on the left say, yes,
lie.
exactly.
Lie. I mean, let's call it as they lie.
It's exactly what they do. They don't misrepresent the truth, and they don't misspeak. They lie about it, and they do it. And the thing that disturbs me is when you see them in these kind of forum shows, no one corrects them. No one says, "Oh, wait a minute. No, it's not. It will not touch anyone 55 or under." They just let it go like as if it's the truth.
You need to get me on more of those shows.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I'll definitely call it out because Chuck, the truth is on our side. The facts and figures are on our side. There's only one man who has passed a law that loots Medicare for current beneficiaries to the tune of $716 billion to pay for his totally unpopular and very partisan health care law that we simply can't afford. That's President Obama. I mean, that is the truth. It's Paul Ryan and Governor Romney that have a real proposal to save it for future generations. And that's something that we need to inform the American public about.
You know, it's like this staggering membership support I was surprised. I really was. I mean, I know that most of these people are conservative, libertarian, at least partially like I am. But I was very, very surprised at 95% of them. When you go down through Florida and you're selling this, because it's really a big deal here. You're going to sell it. They're going to come in here and try their best to scare these seniors out of their wits. It's the only defense that they have. And the only offense we have is the truth, and will they believe it, and will they listen to it?
Well, also, I really do believe seniors care about their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren.
But I also think they care more about themselves right now.
Well,
that may be a harsh thing to say.
We're all human beings, and we are, I think, rightfully concerned about ourselves.
Right.
But I hope we can appeal to the better spirits of people and realize that it's simply immoral to be passing this level of debt onto the backs of our children and grandchildren.
Absolutely.
Certainly our founders understood that debt in government is not, it is simply immoral. Now, if you're incurring debt to actually build infrastructure, a capital good that's going to last for as long as the debt lasts, that's fine. But
it truly is an investment.
Yes, you do not indebt your children and grandchildren for current consumption. unfortunately, I don't know any parents that would run up their credit cards, never expecting to pay them off, and just pass those on to their kids and grandkids. Why do we do that collectively
Do you
as
think
society?
that people just can't get their heads around it? They don't understand it, or they expect it from government? Or, I mean, what causes that kind of disconnect where you allow people to do this?
Because politicians for decades have been promising the American people things that they know they can't deliver.
Right.
Some of them maybe think they can deliver it. Yeah, I hear it all the time. Social Security, it's solvent to the year 2035. It's really not. We are already cash negative. We collect less in the payroll tax than we pay out in benefits. By the year 2035, that total cash deficit will be $6 trillion.
Well, what was in that lockbox that Al Gore kept talking about?
What it is are government bonds held in the hands of the U.S. government. Now, Chuck, an exact analogy is if you have $20 and you spend it, and you write yourself a note, it says $20, put it in your pocket and say, hey, I got $20. No, you don't. You're going to have to hand that note to somebody and as a promise to pay if they give you the money again.
So we're borrowing money to pay Social Security to me, probably.
Absolutely. We're currently doing that right now.
So now we're going into debt in order to pay the debt that we promised to the seniors who who don't have the debt but paid into it but aren't going to get.
Well, we're going to start.
I mean, it's so convoluted and upside down. It's ridiculous.
Right.
And no wonder people kind of go scratch their head and go, what? So I think, in order to simplify these things, as you did very well, and bring it down to where the average person can understand what is and what isn't, because government seems to me to be in the business of complicating things to where no one understands, so they get away with everything.
Let me simplify.
It's Madison when he said they create bills so complicated that no one understands them.
Let me simplify President Obama's failed record. If you want one metric that proves it is, in his tenure here, median household income has declined by more than $4,000. And when we're facing the type of fiscal crisis that we are, we have a president that has proposed 4 budgets, no proposal in those 4 budgets to save either Social Security or Medicare. His last 2 budgets were so unserious in the face of this fiscal crisis. They've had 3 votes in Congress. Final vote tally, 0 to 610. People need to think about what an abdication of leadership that represents, that he's putting forward plans that are so unserious, not a member of his own party are willing to give it a vote. We cannot afford 4 more years of that type of failed leadership.
Have you seen 2016?
I have not. I heard a lot about it.
I saw it a couple of days ago, and I follow politics pretty closely. And I was very surprised because I thought that I knew, and I went there saying, well, this is just going to reinforce what I think I know. It didn't at all. It gave me a new perspective of purpose, of desire, of background, of why certain things happen, how he looks at things, and it makes it makes sense. It's not good, but it makes sense. Now, here's the thing. Obama's going to run on you're a bad guy, and we're going to run on you've done bad things, and they haven't turned out very well.
I disagree. We'll run on 2 things. I think it's very appropriate for us to point out his failed
economic
record.
failure.
Okay,
absolutely,
and his broken promises, which are legion. But
they are. I did a minute on the radio the other day. I only covered 10, and I had 50 of them.
I've got a list in my brain. I can just rattle them off. But the selection of Paul Ryan, combined with
that was very courageous on his part, I think, and a lot of people have said that. But according to his past, that was a very courageous thing to do, and it showed him as a great CEO.
It's serious.
It was serious, exactly.
And it's very businesslike as well, because Paul Ryan's skill set perfectly complements Mitt Romney's skill set. I mean,
CEO, CFO.
CEO, private sector experience, a business background, an analytical mind. As somebody who went in and Bain Capital as a consultant to kick the tires of businesses to figure out how you can fix them, turn them around, and then you marry that with Paul Ryan's budget knowledge, his relationships in Congress that will enable him to not only help figure out what the solution is, but help him get those solutions passed. It's a perfectly complimentary choice by Governor Romney.
How important is the Senate in this election?
It's enormously important. If we're
let's put a percentage on it. The presidency is, say, 50%. How important is the Senate?
Would be the other 50%. I mean, we have to run the table. We've just talking to some folks from Boston. We need to score a hat trick here. We got to retain majority in the House. We need to gain a majority in the Senate so that we'll actually pass a budget, which Senator Harry Reid hasn't required his members to do in 3 years.
How does he get away with that?
Well,
I mean, honestly, I look at this and I think, well, this is a joke. I mean, he just doesn't do anything that's constitutional required of him, and there's no responsibility. And that's what I think people are frustrated when they watch and they say, well, where is the responsibility? Who holds these guys responsible to do?
Well, you know, if there were a Republican Senate, the media would hold us accountable.
Right.
There'd be behind every newscaster, there would be a
you.
day count like the Iran hostage deal. You'd see it 1,070 days since the Republican Senate has passed a budget.
And I honestly don't understand that either. Frankly, I just don't understand that.
Now, we need to hold the Democrats in the Senate accountable for not passing a budget, and how we do it, the voters need to do it. We need to boot them out of office. We need to put Republicans in control. We'll pass those budgets. We need to elect Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan as next president, vice president, and then we've proven ourselves as Republicans willing to be held accountable. That's what the House budget was all about. That was spearheaded by Paul Ryan.
Thank you, Senator Ron Johnson.